Thanks very much. As some of you are probably wondering, I'm Jason Peters. I'm a senior technical account specialist with Autodesk. And you're probably wondering, what does a guy from Autodesk know about BIM managing? I've only been with Autodesk for a little over 2 months now. So I have 24 plus years working in structural consulting as, well, basically starting off on the drafting table, working my way up through AutoCAD, CAD manager, team lead. Spent the last 6 years as a BIM manager in a national company and a small local company in Winnipeg, Canada. If anyone's curious as to where Winnipeg is, feel free to pull out your phone and Google it really quick while I'm talking. It's basically right smack dab in the center of Canada. And if you know the States at all, 8 miles north of Minneapolis. So if you think Minneapolis is cold, Winnipeg's really, really cold. So to move on here a little bit, you've all probably seen this before from Autodesk. So believe it or not, for the first time ever in the history of the world, an Autodesk employee is not going to talk about Autodesk. So I don't have to read out the safe harbor statement to anybody. So we're not going to talk about software or anything like that. What we're going to talk about is my 24 years of experience and 10 mistakes I've made or I've seen made or that other people have told me about that BIM managers make that make their job very, very difficult. First of all, who all here is a BIM manager or a CAD manager or a technology manager? Anybody? A few? How about an owner, senior architect, senior engineer, someone higher up on the food chain that has to deal with a BIM manager on a daily basis? Okay, JJ, yeah. So BIM management is such a weird name because we're going to manage BIM. BIM is building information modeling. Do we manage the information? Do we manage the building? Do we manage the technology? Do we manage the people? It's a little bit of everything. So not only do we have to know our technology, but we also have to have human and person-to-person skills, leadership skills, and to be honest, a little bit of economic skills in there to help convince our boss as to why we want to do everything we do. So I'm down to like less than 12 minutes here, and I've got 10 mistakes in no particular order. So that gives me about 1 minute and 20 seconds per mistake. Usually most of these mistakes took me about 3 years to fix, but we're going to go with it really quick. And so in no particular order, we're going to start with a blank screen. Not knowing the plan. This isn't your plan. This is becoming the BIM manager, starting at a new company, taking over the role in your existing company, and not knowing the direction your boss wants you to go. This is a huge mistake because you don't know what the company wants from you. I approached my last employer and said, okay, it was an office of about 50 people, and I said, what's the plan? What is the BIM plan going forward? And he's like, well, we just want to BIMify it. We just want to make it BIM. So I'm like, okay, great. I walked away from that meeting very confused, and I came back a little bit later and said, okay, what exactly does that mean to you? What do you want me to do in the company? And it came out that they want to improve technology. They want to bid on bigger and better jobs where the collaboration and coordination is more important. They want to take the staff from learning just AutoCAD to learning Revit, ACC. That's right, I'm not supposed to talk about Autodesk stuff. Learning more 3D software. So that was the plan. That was their plan that they wanted me to achieve. So that gave me something to do. So there we go. Skipped over mistake number 1. I have a plan, so I'm ready to roll. Next is doing it your way. I started off as a CAD manager about 10 years ago, and I was super, super excited because I took over from a gentleman that had been doing it for years, and I went, finally, I get to do it my way. Every little detail I want to use, every layer, every work process that I've ever wanted to do, I get to do right now. And I'm going to change absolutely everything. What I didn't realize was there was a reason why everything was being done the way it was. Yes, I had better ways of doing it, but I didn't quite fully understand why their way was still a good way. And if you think about it, people don't really like change. And you look kind of bossy coming off the first day going, we're going to change everything. We're just going to do it my way. That's not a good way to learn how to run your team. Not having authority. This one's fun because I just came off sounding kind of bossy because I want to do it my way. Not really kind of what I mean. You need to have the authority laid out in front of the whole team and the whole office and the whole corporation as to where you fit in to the big scheme of things. You're not the boss, but you're not a power user. You're trying to help the process, and you're also trying to get jobs out the door. But it doesn't help you if someone on your staff goes to someone else in the department who's a little higher up than you and goes, Jason's a jerk. I don't like what he's doing. I still want to do it the old way. And they're like, okay, your jobs always get done on time. You can just do it that way. So now I've got to go, and do I be authoritative to the junior person, or do I go talk to the senior person? Either way, you need to have the authority to go talk to someone. You can go chastise someone, or you can also go correct someone and say, it's really not your responsibility to make that decision. Just point them in my direction. And yeah, I'll still be a jerk, but that's okay. I'm used to it. What's next? Not knowing your software. This one I like a lot because people always say, I don't want to try something new because it's too hard, it takes too much time, and it really actually costs way too much money. I think those are all just really bad excuses, because in the industry that we work in, where everything's digital and data is really important and time is really important and interconnectivity is really important, you need to know your software, and you need to know what it does, how it does it, and which piece of software is best for that job. You shouldn't try shoehorning, let's say, for example, steel detailing into Revit, even though you can. You should maybe look at using advanced steel. That way then your workflow changes and you're also knowing your software. And that way then you know which piece of software is best for which job. Oh, another blank screen. Not knowing how much it really costs. I'm not talking about how much going out and getting a cloud server costs. We all know that that's expensive. What I really mean is how much it really costs to train people, to teach them new skills, to change software due to time constraints. And this isn't a good way to go to your boss and say, hey, I need more training, we need better software, we need more staff. Because if I break this down for you in production hours, you're going to lose your mind. If I go out today and I spend 35 minutes teaching all the staff how to do a new process, and it saves them an hour each week. So let's say you have a staff of 36, that's 36 hours each week. Times that over 52, times their charge out for the day, that's a lot of money. And that's what you need to know about how much it costs. Just don't go to your boss and say, hey, I want to do some training because it's going to make us look really cool and we're going to be awesome. You need to explain to them that it's also going to save us a lot of money. Not having a plan. This isn't not having a plan like your boss doesn't have a plan. This is you not having a plan. If you don't have a plan, nothing's going to happen. This isn't like your BXP or your building execution plan. This is your plan. How are you going to go from the point A that boss wants you to go to point F? So now you got to figure it all out. Are we going to train? Or am I going to do over-the-shoulder mentoring? Am I going to inundate everyone with a whole bunch of YouTube videos that may end up making them watch rock videos? I don't know. That's going to be up to you and how your company wants to train. But not having a plan is worse than having a plan that isn't really that good. This one's my favorite, doing the little things. I always get caught up, and I rather just do it myself. If there's a problem, or if someone's having a problem, I always just like to go over to their desk, push them out of the way, sit down and go, here, I'll fix it. because it's going to take me 5 minutes. Now, all of a sudden, this goes back to not knowing the cost. If I can teach them how to do the little things, I don't have to do it. It's also easier. Everyone who's been a BIM manager knows that families and schedules and creating brand new content from scratch is time consuming. And we all know that BIM managers get paid a little bit more than just a power user. So why wouldn't you use the kid who's fresh out of school, who's really gung-ho in Revit, wants to make that family, and you're like, okay, because you can do it in half an hour, that would take me 2 hours to do. I know that. I'm old enough to know that I'm a little slow with families. And if I can get someone to do it faster and more productive than me, I'm totally going to do that. Changing too much. I've already kind of mentioned this before. We don't want to change things too much all at once. If you have to make wholesale changes with your production and how things are working, do it slowly. Don't take the manual or all the training classes offline that everyone's been working with for 15 years and throw a whole bunch of new content at them, because now this is going to scare them, and they're also going to lose interest because they're going to be going like, what is wrong with the way we're doing things now? Which in a way, there's really nothing wrong with the way you're doing things, but we can always just do it just a little bit better. One of my favorite ones, JJ mentioned something about team, not knowing your team. If you don't know what your team's capable of doing, if you don't know who wants to do what, if you give a task to someone who's like, Jason, man, if you come to me one more time and ask me to make a schedule, I'm just going to lose my mind. Don't give it to them. Give it to the person who wants to do it. Approach the people that are looking at their job now more maybe as a career, because there are those people that just want to sit at their desk and run Revit really, really well, or run whatever program they're using really, really well, and that's all they want to do. But you need to know if there's someone in your office or there's people in your office that want to take on those roles. If someone wants to become a BIM coordinator, or maybe in the future take your job, that's fine. You know what? We'll train you. And if you can't have my job, there's a lot of other jobs out there that you can do. And it's great. There's no reason why you should be afraid to train your team and make them better, because you're only going to get better yourself. I have 2 minutes left, and I have one talking point to go. Believe it or not, it's talking too much. I used to run my meetings really differently than I do now. I used to go in, and I would talk to my team for half an hour. Tell them everything that they're doing wrong, everything that they're doing right, how to do better, when lunch is going to be, what kind of sandwiches we're going to have. But I'd never, ever listen to them. And it wouldn't be until after the meetings that someone would come slinking by my desk and say, oh, you talk too much. I really wanted to talk to you about this or bring this to everyone's attention. If you can start off your meeting really basic and get everybody in the room talking, that's how you're going to find out what's working well and what's not working well. People don't want to come right out and say, I can't do this, or this isn't working. They'll tell you all the good stuff, but at some point in time, they will actually just let it slip. Oh, well, I had a really hard time with this. And that's when you can jump on it and say, well, you need to tell me more about that. Let's meet about that, and let's talk about that. All right? And that's it. That's 10 mistakes that you as a BIM manager can make. If you go away with anything from this today, if you go with one of these little mistakes and go, oh, I do that, and you can learn from it and change it, and hopefully it can change your the performance of your company, that's fantastic. Because we're all here to help. And don't ever be afraid to reach out to other people, even if they're not in your own company. In Winnipeg, we have a small little community of BIM people, and it's constantly on the phone, talking with them, meeting with them, just to see what everyone else is doing. So I'd like to thank you for your time. And I've really enjoyed my time in Dublin. And if you're ever in Winnipeg, give me a call. There is my email address. I'll take you out.